Well, happy Wednesday from Let's Discuss with John Barba. Hey, today's little discussion is just going to be kind of a preliminary on this question about the NAR lawsuit that came down about a week ago, a little over a week ago. And we're having this discussion in thanks to one of our viewers that said we should bring this up and talk about it. They happen to work in a real estate office and thought that it would be an interesting topic for us to discuss. So here's the first thing that I want to say about the the lawsuit and the verdict. Um, None of this stuff is over yet, right? There's going to be appeals, and there's a bunch of copycat lawsuits going on around the country, and they're really focusing these lawsuits. One, the attorneys are looking to capitalize on it financially. Um, and look, that's their job, so be it. Um, but none of this is has changed anything in the market, because when I say the market, um, that's really, the real estate market is one of those few places left where it's all about econ 101, right? For those of you that took economics or understand economics, home prices are not dictated by people, they're dictated by the market. People are willing to pay a certain amount of money for a certain property in a certain location. That's as simple as it is. Just like you would um, reach out to a doctor for medical services or a lawyer for lawyer services, you reach out to a real estate agent for real estate services. There it is true that our industry has changed. The real estate industry has changed a lot in the last 20 years. I mean, I remember a time, I've been doing this since 1990. And I remember the time when real estate agents were the keeper of knowledge. So if you wanted to know what homes were available on the marketplace, you had to reach out to a real estate agent because they had the book. We used to get these huge MLS books once or twice a month, depending on the market that you were in, that would list all the homes for sale. That wasn't public knowledge, and therefore you had to use a real estate agent um, to find out what was available to buy or sell. The industry has gone through a lot of really good changes in the fact that homes are homes that are for sale are much more. That information is much more available now. And the truth is, a real estate agent's job um, is not to necessarily find a buyer a home. Okay. Their job is, when dealing with a buyer, is really to help them navigate the contracts, the timelines, to keep them out of trouble, to help make sure that they purchase a home that's in the best condition possible, um, to make sure that the needs that they're looking for um, are acquired. It's very easy to go on to Zillow or Realtor.com or any of these other sites. You can go to my website. You can search for properties. That's going to give you some pictures and some dimensions about the property and tell you where it is. Um, but that's about it. It doesn't really tell you about the condition. And on the sales side of the process, a real estate agent's job is to market a home for sale to as many potential buyers as possible and help that seller get the most money that they can for that home, to help them with the contracts and the timelines, and to make sure that they are fulfilled in the selling process. For a buyer's agent, and I happen to live in Texas. In Texas, we have something called agency, which means a real estate agent in a transaction either represents the seller or the buyer. Okay. We can't just be, we don't have what they call in some states a transactional agent, which is just there to do paperwork and so forth. An agent in Texas, at least, has a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that the buyer or the seller is knowledgeable about what's going on. They're fully aware of the details of the transaction, and that agent is working in that buyer or seller's best interest to get them the best deal possible. Okay, so what does all this have to do with this lawsuit? Well, the premise of the lawsuit was they did a class action suit basically stating that sellers were overcharged commissions because the seller paid a commission for the sale of the home, and then part of that commission went to the brokerage that sold the house. Part of that commission went to the brokerage that brought the buyer. In many states, that's called it's a marketing expense or a marketing fee to compensate someone for bringing a buyer to purchase the home. In Texas, um, we have contractual agreements with buyers that state here is what our fee is for the services that we provide. That fee may or may not be paid by the seller. Um, but this is what we charge to make sure that your best interests are taken care of, that you get the best deal possible, that the home that you purchase matches your criteria to the best of what the marketplace has available. Okay. Not all states are like that. And it left things open in Missouri to have this lawsuit. At the end of the day, you know what? This thing is going to go through all kinds of legal ups and downs, and it will be in the appeal process for probably the next 2 years, um, as well as other lawsuits that might go on around the country. At the end of the day, a real estate agent, if they are doing their job, earns their fee not because they found a house for you, though that's part of what they do. The majority of where they earn their fee is through taking the buyer or the seller through the process, keeping them out of trouble, or when issues do arise, and they often do, the agent uses their expertise to help their client navigate that issue and ultimately to determine what the best resolution is and whether or not that's the best property for them. Okay. Um, I've ran a lot of brokerages, and I want to make sure that this is very clear. A brokerage can set what the commission is for their brokerage. That's absolutely legal. But those commission fees are absolutely negotiable. Okay. And so I have never, they're talking about a certain percentage in this lawsuit that agents were charging. I never ran a brokerage. where we got that on every or our average transaction was like that. We don't do that. That's not the way that we operate here. Um, Commissions are always negotiable, and keep that in mind when you're talking to your agent. Make sure that you know what it is that they are doing for you. And again, it's not about just finding a house. A lot of my clients come to me today, buyer clients, they already know the houses they want to look at. I do have some that I need to help them find something because maybe they're not aware of the area, and so they don't really know where to start looking. Well, okay, then my expertise is to help them do that. But once we find a house, that's when the real work begins, um, on the buyer side. On the seller side, it's the agent's responsibility to market that home to as many potential buyers as possible and get them the best deal possible. All this being said, nothing's changed in our industry. You still need to look for the best agent that you feel comfortable with, that you feel will meet your needs as a trusted advisor. It's the same thing that you would do in looking for a doctor, a lawyer, a dentist. It's we fulfill real estate agents fulfill a very significant role in a real estate transaction. If an agent can articulate that to you and you feel comfortable with their knowledge and ability to do that, then that's a great agent for you. That's who you should use. If they don't, shop around. But at the end of the day, it's business as usual. And the truth is our market. And that means in my little town, that's a marketplace and it's different than the little town next door, right? Everything is a little bit different. There are different city regulations and permits and all of these things that are vitally important to know, whether you're a buyer or a seller. And that's where the real estate agent actually earns their commissions. And none of that has changed. The value that a real estate agent brings and the money that they save you, um, by fulfilling their commitment to you as your fiduciary, that has not changed. And so for my real estate friends out there that are watching, you know what? Continue to do the good work that you're doing. For those of you that are out there wondering about how this changes the real estate market, really doesn't. Now, could there be changes in the next couple of years? Absolutely. But there were going to be changes anyway. There's always changes. Um, you know, there's all kinds of pundits out there telling stories about what this is going to do and who's going to be responsible for what. And none of them know where this is going to go because it's not going to change tomorrow. But it'll change. Always does. That's why I'm in real estate, because I don't need to have cable TV. I got plenty of drama and changes going on all the time. I just have to go to work, get entertained every day. So if you have any questions or you want to discuss any of this, and maybe, there are some opinions that you have based on what you've heard, let's discuss them, because it's a topic that ultimately will affect all of you when you go to buy or sell a home. And, it's good to be as educated as possible, and more than happy to have that discussion. So I hope you have a fantastic Wednesday, and look forward to talking to you tomorrow about last night's elections. I definitely have some opinions on those, and I think we probably should discuss those. Take care and be blessed.